best spring gardening practices for healthy plants and fewer pests. Hey there, fellow garden enthusiasts. I'm Pete, and welcome back to Eco Alchemy. Are you ready to unlock the secrets to a flourishing garden this spring? Let's dive into the essential steps for spring maintenance and pest prevention, ensuring your garden is the envy of the neighborhood. Spring is the season of new beginnings, and that includes giving your garden beds a fresh start. Think of it as a spa day for your soil. Let's get those beds ready for a season of bountiful harvests. First things first, let's clear out any remnants from last season. Remove dead leaves, stems, and old mulch. These can harbor unwanted pests and diseases. If you're a fan of the no-till method, great. Just add a layer of compost on top and let nature do its thing. Now, let's enrich that soil. Adding fresh organic matter like compost or aged manure is like giving your soil a super boost of nutrients. If your soil is compacted, gently loosen it with a broad fork. Remember, happy soil equals happy plants. Weeds can be a gardener's biggest headache, but fear not. We're going to tackle them head-on with natural and effective strategies. Let's keep those pesky weeds at bay and give your plants the space they need to thrive. Mulching is your secret weapon. A layer of straw, shredded leaves, or wood chips acts as a barrier, blocking sunlight and suppressing weed growth. Plus, it helps retain precious soil moisture. It's a win-win. For those of you with raised beds, try dense planting. When plants are close together, they create shade, making it difficult for weeds to sprout. And for pathways, a thick layer of mulch or cardboard will stop weeds in their tracks. If weeds do manage to pop up, don't panic. Hand-pulling or using a weeding tool while the soil is moist is the best approach. Get them before they flower and spread their seeds. You've got this. Spring is also when pests start to emerge, but we're going to be proactive and stop them before they cause any damage. Think of yourself as a garden detective, always on the lookout for potential problems. Regularly inspect your plants, checking the undersides of leaves for any signs of trouble. Look for holes in foliage or early signs of aphids or caterpillars. Early detection is key. Companion planting is another fantastic strategy. Interplant crops with flowers and herbs that naturally deter pests. Marigolds and nasturtiums can repel aphids and whiteflies, while basil, rosemary, and thyme confuse insect pests with their strong scents. Floating row covers are your allies in protecting tender young plants. These lightweight covers shield against pests like flea beetles, cabbage worms, and aphids while still allowing light and air to pass through. If you spot a minor pest problem, act fast. Use gentle organic solutions like a strong blast of water, neem oil spray, or insecticidal soap to knock back infestations before they get out of hand. Don't wait until your plants are sprawling all over the place. Get those trellises, stakes, and row covers set up early. This will save you from damaging roots later on. If you live in a warm climate, consider setting up shade cloth systems. This will help extend the cool season growing window and prevent lettuce, spinach, and other greens from bolting too early. And if you're using drip irrigation or soaker hoses, install them before your plants get too established. This ensures consistent watering throughout the season without disturbing the soil. A healthy garden is a balanced ecosystem, so let's attract the good guys. Early spring is the perfect time to plant flowers that support pollinators and predator insects. Flowers like alyssum, calendula, borage, and dill provide nectar for bees, butterflies, and hoverflies. These beneficial insects will not only pollinate your plants, but also help control aphid populations. Consider adding a small insect habitat, like a pile of logs or a bee hotel, to encourage ladybugs, lacewings, and other beneficial insects to take up residence in your garden. Healthy soil is the foundation of a thriving garden. Spring is the time to feed your soil, not just your plants. If you haven't done a soil test, now is the perfect time to check nutrient levels and make targeted amendments. If your soil is low in nitrogen, add composted manure or alfalfa meal to help leafy greens thrive. For phosphorus, which supports root growth, bone meal or rock phosphate is a great addition. Wood ash or kelp meal can provide potassium, helping plants become more resilient to temperature fluctuations. Mulching with compost or aged leaves also helps retain moisture, suppress weeds, and provide slow-release nutrients throughout the season. To keep your spring garden on track, here's a handy checklist of key tasks. 1. Clear out old plant debris and refresh garden beds with compost. 2. Mulch early to prevent weeds and retain soil moisture. 3. Install trellises, stakes, and irrigation before plants get too big. 4. Observe for early pests and diseases and take action before they spread. 5. Encourage beneficial insects by planting flowers that attract pollinators and predators. 6. Test soil and make amendments to set plants up for success. By following these steps, you'll set your garden up for strong growth, fewer pest problems, and a bountiful harvest all season long. Now, let's talk about garden planning. This is where you get to unleash your creativity and design the garden of your dreams. Think about what you want to grow, how much space you have, and what kind of aesthetic you're going for. Start by mapping out your garden on paper. Consider the amount of sunlight each area receives and plan accordingly. Group plants with similar needs together to make watering and fertilizing easier. Don't be afraid to experiment with different layouts and designs. You can create raised beds, container gardens, or even a vertical garden if space is limited. The possibilities are endless. Consider adding elements like pathways, seating areas, and decorative features to make your garden a truly inviting and enjoyable space. If you're new to gardening, don't feel overwhelmed. Gardening is a journey, and we're here to help you every step of the way. Here are a few tips to get you started. Start small. Don't try to do too much at once. Begin with a small garden bed or a few containers and gradually expand as you gain experience. Choose easy-to-grow plants. Some plants are more forgiving than others. Start with varieties like lettuce, tomatoes, herbs, and zucchini. Don't be afraid to ask for help. There are plenty of experienced gardeners who are happy to share their knowledge and advice. Join a local gardening club or online forum to connect with other gardeners. Learn from your mistakes. Gardening is all about trial and error. Don't get discouraged if things don't always go as planned. Learn from your mistakes and keep trying. Community gardens are a great way to connect with other gardeners, share resources, and grow food together. If you don't have space for a garden at home, consider joining a community garden in your area. Community gardens provide a sense of community and belonging. You'll have the opportunity to learn from experienced gardeners, share your knowledge, and make new friends. Community gardens also promote sustainable gardening practices. You'll learn about composting, organic pest control, and other eco-friendly techniques. Now that we've covered spring garden maintenance and pest prevention, our next episode will introduce a plant-focused mini-series as a break before we continue into more spring gardening topics. We'll be diving into a deep dive on early warm weather crops like squash, melons, or eggplants, covering everything from seed to harvest, just like we did with tomatoes, peppers, and cucumbers. Let me know in the comments, what's your biggest spring garden challenge? Do you struggle more with weeds, pests, or keeping up with early growth? I'd love to hear how your spring garden is going. And if you found this episode helpful, be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Till the next episode, keep your hands dirty and your hearts in the garden.